Parliament has passed a new bill to improve adoption laws and practices as part of efforts to better safeguard the child's welfare. This includes stricter guidelines for potential adopters, including preventing ex-offenders of serious crimes from adopting a child and regulating adoption agencies. Rebecca Mateo with this report.
14 MPs and one nominated MP spoke on the bill. While they supported the amendments, they also had questions about issues ranging from the eligibility criteria to the quality of adoption agencies. Ms. Ng Ling Ling suggested that children being put up for adoption should be protected even from persons who have committed non-serious offences. Social and Family Development Minister Masagos Zulkifli said that the ministry will look at the impact of the offence on the applicant's character and ability to care for the child.
Such offences would include sexual abuse and violence offences and offences under the Children and Young Persons Act. We'll also reference established frameworks that list serious offences. Depending on the types of cases that surface over time, we may review the list. For offences not in the prescribed list, the applicant's criminal record will still be taken into account as part of the adoption suitability assessment.
Mr. Masagos also addressed concerns about whether the new measures, which require adoption agencies to be transparent about their fees, are enough to combat unethical practices.
We will keep a close watch on the impact of the bill on the adoption agencies' practices, and we are prepared to consider further measures in the future if necessary.
On post-adoption matters, Ms. Joan Pereira feels more can be done, like having social workers check on the children in the first few years after adoption. However, Mr. Masagos says the ministry's general position is to treat the adoptive family like any other family.
The government, therefore, does not interfere in the family unless we have cause for concern. MSF also received mixed feedback on such post-adoption reviews during our stakeholder consultations, with some commenting that such reviews are invasive for adoptive parents when similar requirements are not imposed on birth parents.
When it comes to supporting the process of disclosure on children's adoptive status, Mr. Masagos says broad guidelines would include approaching disclosure as a process rather than a one-off event. He adds that social service agencies will continue to support families. Besides group sessions, outings will be organised for adoptive families to interact with each other.
Agencies welcomed the changes to the Adoption of Children Act as a move in the right direction to help children find a better home. This will include authorities revoking adopters' pre-adoption assessments if false information was submitted. But apart from this, one organisation thinks that more can be done to help potential adopters.
We need to ensure that there is sufficient training for the frontline workers to ensure that there is the ability to detect risk factors early, as well as in managing the anxieties and the anxieties of the prospective adopters, so that they don't get over concerned with the process.
Mr. Tan foresees a possible increase in workload after the new Adoption of Children Act 2022 comes into force. For example, adoption agencies will have to collaborate with foster agencies to work out the new processes that have been set up by the government.
I can say that if there's a need for manpower, certainly we will look into more manpower. It depends on how the work is translated into the man hours needed to carry it out. Certainly, if there are ways to mitigate, like adopting technology, whether it is through more digitalization of that, sure, why not?
Post-adoption, some adoptive parents feel that more can be done, including getting social organisations to check how they're doing.
The thing is that if you really cares about whether the child is growing properly in the adopted parents' home, then maybe every some lead time of 3, 5 years or 10 years, the NFSS have to come in and say, I know that you have adopted the kids. It has been accrued 10 years. How is everything going?